Welcome everybody to our Cosmos, the BFA DT Thesis exhibition being held virtually at Babycastles and being streamed live at Babycastles at twitch.com/Babycastles. So these are the games that we'll be playing. We'll obviously talk about them as we go through. But here's the order. We're going to start with Oasis by Aya, The Living Space by Costas, Unmute by Cindy, The Sacred Magus Crest. Did I pronounce that right, Annalise? Okay.
Yeah.
By Annalise, Author's Quest by Daniel, Birds Don't Cry at Sunrise by Jib, Revenge by Shantanu, Homesick by Nicole, Love Me Not by Michelle, and is it Daya's World or Daya's World?
Daya's World, yeah.
Daya's World by Justina. And with us today are representatives from some world-renowned game companies. Microcastles will be represented by Dennis, and Dennis will start with 40 Parsons bucks. Anna Parsons will be represented by Emily, and she will start with 25 Parsons bucks. Oh, I think it's 25, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And then Baby Tendo represented by Blake, and they will start with 35 fun bucks. Here is the crew, and we are going to start off with Oasis by Aya. And Aya, you have the floor.
Hi, I'm Aya, and I will be sharing my presentation now. Yes, my thesis project is called Oasis. And so Oasis provides an immersive, meditative, and informative experience about the 6 stages of grief using a 3D game platform as its medium. A mother-like character will guide the player through 6 different environments, each representing the stages of grief introduced by psychiatrist Kubler-Ross. And I made a mock trailer for my game.
Hello, weary traveler. Come, rest up. Welcome to the Oasis. You have arrived at quite a curious place. Individuals usually discover this oasis because they become disoriented from losing someone or something that was very important to them. Others arrive here out of pure curiosity. All is welcome, of course. The Oasis shall provide a meditative, healing experience and inform you about your journey. The journey of grief.
Hopefully that wasn't too laggy, but now moving on to how to access Oasis. Basically, you have to own a PS4 and the Dreams software, and after you open the application, you just search Oasis Robin, and you should be able to find the game. So for the basic user experience, first the user arrives at the home stage, and then they're guided through the 6 stages of grief. And then, so that would probably take around 15 to 60 minutes, depending on the user. And after that, they are brought back to the home stage, where they are given access to all stages whenever they like to visit, because the grief is not a linear process. And so Oasis is not a traditional game with objectives. Rather, it's more of like a meditative, informative experience. So many have experienced loss throughout this pandemic, and I wanted to create something that can help people with their grieving process. There are some personal motives as well, like I wanted to expand my comfort zone and really express my artistic voice. And also, I was inspired to use the 6 stages of grief because when my family lost our restaurant during the quarantine, learning about this concept helped me through the grieving process. And so Oasis can help by providing awareness to how our mind works and also giving perspective about the different emotions and stages of grief. And I wanted to investigate if a combination of immersion, meditation, and information complement each other well. And if so, how can I do this harmoniously? And of course, I did research on the 6 stages of grief by Kubler-Ross. And again, it's important to note that grief is not a linear process. And grief can also be applied to other types of losses, like through breakups or losing a childhood home. Oasis is not supposed to be a map, but it can provide some scaffolding for the unknown world, like how Kubler-Ross stated. And some of my next goals is to add more interactivity throughout the stages and create like a logbook so that they can go back to read about more about the 6 stages of grief. And here is a live stream of my game.
Okay, so we're going to open the floor to QA as Aya plays through.
Well, yeah, so of course I represent Microcastles, one of the biggest, most well-known software companies in the entire world. And we are very impressed by your game. I've conferred with my CEO back here, Baby Gates, and we're both really impressed by your game. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about your use of the Dreams engine to create this game, and whether you feel like that is how intrinsic you feel like that is to the game that you've created.
So the reason why I chose Dreams is because it allowed me to create, to fully express my visual, like what I wanted to achieve visually, and I would not have been able to like create this in the time span that I was given if I were to develop it on Unity. But moving forward, maybe I'll use Unity, or I'm not sure. Yeah.
Good to know, because as you know, we are competitors with Sony, and while we're impressed with your game, we would love to see you maybe become an exclusive for us and maybe break with Sony a little bit. So if you'd be open to that, then maybe we can make a deal. But I'll let my fellows weigh in a little bit on this as well.
Yeah, so I noticed there's a voiceover. I of course represent Anna Parsons, which is we are interested in helping independent creators share their personal stories. You talked a little bit about how your personal experience played into thematically what's going on in the game. Does it involve or it influence the narrative of the game at all? when there is these dialogue session or these dialogue moments?
None of my personal like experiences are like actually incorporated in the game. The narration is solely just explaining what each of the stages are about. Like for example, here the narrator is explaining like what the stage of anger is about.
Why me? It's not clear.
Yes.
Would you consider having a maybe celebrity actor do that voiceover?
Yes. If
Thank you.
Yeah, this game looks gorgeous. I really like the style. I like the that you're using, Sony Dreams, this engine that's within a console. I think that's really unique, and I think I'm coming at it from a bit of a similar perspective of do you how important do you feel is this incorporation of it being in an engine on a console? Recently, we've released Game Builder Garage, and of course, you might be familiar with Mario Maker. I could easily see this being made in something like Mario Maker, having a fire level, having different levels like this. Can you speak to, are you interested in using different platforms like game engine creation tools? And maybe speak about what you like about Dreams.
Sure. So like moving forward, I would definitely like to like make it more accessible to as many people as possible. But like there was only one person working on this, and Dreams made it possible for me to like achieve this like level of production with just like the given time frame and like budget. So, yeah.
Look, I'm gonna cut right to the chase. We both know Baby Tendo is for babies. They don't make games for adults. All right, that's not their audience on their platform, and obviously, it's not the right decision for you. So we both know Microcastles is the right platform for you, and we're willing to just cut to the chase and right off the bat offer you 5 gamer bucks.
I'm going to make a counter offer. Yes, Microcastles has a lot of resources, but we at Anna Parsons are really dedicated to this like introspective, personal journey that the player goes through in your game, and we really would love to support that. And so I'm going to offer you 3 Parsons bucks to create this game, and you're welcome to do it on any platform.
I would like to offer. I would like to offer $6. I can easily see this be adapted. In Mario Maker with Mario, I think that might be a little bit different, but I could see the emotional quality resonating with our favorite cartoon mascot.
Thank you everyone so much.
To make a choice.
I think I would like to go with Microcastles.
Okay, Microcastles for 6.
For 6, I don't know. I just talked to my CEO, and I think 5 is going to be our ceiling.
Okay.
All right. We're happy to have you on board.
Awesome. Okay, Microcastles gets it. All right. We are going to move on to the living space.
All right.
And yeah.
Oh, and a round of applause.
Oh, round of applause.
And for the game.
Thank you so much.
Excellent work, Aya.
Yeah, that looks great. I want to try that. I know I don't have Dreams myself, but I would like to play that.
Thank you.
You guys are also, you're allowed to break character at any point, I think.
Yeah, honestly, just watching the gameplay footage mellowed me out. I'm drinking my tea, enjoying the aesthetics.
Really nice, yeah.
Oh, JP, do you want to
Yeah.
do questions just like on a rolling basis, or did you have like time set aside for questions?
I was thinking on a rolling basis. So like
Okay,
during
cool.
gameplay, you can jump in at any point.
Okay, cool. So yeah, that's everyone in the chat. If you have questions, comments that you want me to relay, just ask whenever.
Yeah. And then, yeah, during presentation, no, but then when it's gameplay time, sure, you can jump in with something.
Cool, sounds good.
Cool. Okay, Costas.
Right. My name is Costas, and this is the presentation for my game, The Living Space. Okay, so the concept behind The Living Space is that it is a first-person walking simulator where the main interaction in the game is that players walk through the game and interact with the space depending on where they turn to look and where they decide to move within the space and how long they take within certain parts of the space. And the game itself really has players think about how they perceive the world around them and how they experience the world through their sight and hearing. And the main concept behind The Living Space is that it challenges and goes against really goal-oriented structures like you would find in typical, more traditional video game experiences, which have particular goals in mind and objectives and really try to guide the player towards those goals. But in The Living Space, it gives players the freedom to explore the space at their own pace and also gain their own insight through experiencing the game. And through this, they can essentially create their own game based on their experience. Some questions that I had in developing this game included, how will it be possible to create a space which offers this freedom and which offers each player an individual unique experience versus a more typical universal experience that everybody could have? And how will this game question players' perception? How will it put them within that mindset to think about what they see and what they experience around them? And lastly, of course, how will the space actually change itself based on what players do within the space? And in The Living Space, all the textures have been hand-drawn by me because I wanted to really focus on this changing and organic dynamic feel. So as you play the game, you'll see that the textures play with the visual effects to bring out this changing space based on where you look, and like it all works together to create that experience. And these are some of the textures that I used within the space that you'll see. And for future goals, I would really like to, because this game is so immersive and it really plays with that, I would like to extend this further to VR and AR experiences and work with that and see where the possibilities with that would be. And further from that, I also considered actually making this game a physical experience where a space has been rented out or bought, and then players can actually walk through the space without any technology on them helping them experience it through. And this would be the more experimental one that would need to be tried out, of course. And that's it for my presentation. thanks everybody for listening. And
Thanks, Cassis.
now
And Dennis is going to play, and
I'll just stop the screen share then.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, can everybody see this?
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, some really nice visual effects.
It's a little loud.
Okay, let me turn down.
Yeah, that's a bit better.
Okay, cool. Let's see. So I'm guessing I'm supposed to go into these, what I'm interpreting as goals.
I feel like I'm in a kaleidoscope.
Now that I'm inside the doorway, I'm not sure if I've gone through it or if I turned around. It's not really clear to me if this is something that I actually am supposed to step through or if it's just part of the environment now that I've approached it and nothing has happened.
Can you speak a little more about your the audio? Is the audio also like responsive to the players?
The audio itself is responsive at times. So with certain effects and triggers that occur, the audio will respond to that. A lot of the audio also is background sound as well. So some of the audio, as you actually play it through yourselves too, you would see that it changes based on what you do or where you go.
Yeah, this is interesting. I was playing it a little bit on my own, and I was having a pretty different experience visually and in terms of the audio as well. And it's really nice with headphones.
Yeah, I would recommend it with headphones whenever everybody gets the chance to.
Here's another environment. So I'm wondering, as the representative of Babycastles, as you know, we have an extremely popular, beloved AR device called, let's say, Kinect, and we're coming out with a new version of it. I was really interested to hear you say that you are interested in working in AR because we're looking for new games that show off the capabilities of that device. So that device, as you probably know, is very focused on motion capture and on translating the user's movements into input for gameplay. So I was wondering if you have any ideas about how you can incorporate some of that functionality.
Well, how it is now, it really focuses more on really where the player turns to look more so than, I'd say, body motions or sensors that would capture that. So my thinking would be if there's a way to capture where the player's head turns and where their gaze lands, then that would be extremely useful, and that would be what we could work with. And it depends with VR. I would say that that's more allowable through the headset, of course. So it would really be like getting down and seeing how each piece of hardware within each field can allow this to become more immersive without the technology getting in the way of that experience.
Understood, yeah.
my question is, what is the audience for your game? Because I see, Microsoft, right, or Microcastle, sorry, being more gamer focused, right? And here at Baby Tendo, we have a broader spectrum of people that play our games, right, or have our consoles, right? More people have a Switch than an Xbox Series X, right? So I just want to hear a little bit about what the audience is, or who you'd like to see play this game.
For the audience, I would say that it's more aimed towards, I would say, a wider audience that would allow themselves to lend themselves to an experience that really isn't so goal-oriented, as I said before in the presentation, because this game really is up to each person's interpretation and so on. So it would be ideal for the target audience to be at a level of maturity that allows them to understand and come up with their own definition and individual experience. So I would say perhaps anybody that's over the age of 15 who is also more artistically inclined to allow themselves to have this experience. Because I wouldn't say that this game is particularly directed towards traditional players, if that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense. And I just want to cut in and say that we see the Xbox as not just a gaming console, but really a lifestyle device that appeals to the whole family. So not just, the little brother like Baby Tendo, or, the hipster teenager like Anna Parsons, but really the whole family. So we really do have a broad audience. And, I think there are plenty of people who own an Xbox who would be interested in this game as well. So I just want to sort of put that myth to rest.
From personal experience, I've played Paratopic and Infini on my Switch. Sure,
That's not to say that Microcastle is at this time ready to offer funds. We already have a game that satisfies this niche. Thank you, Oasis. But I just wanted to clear that up before we move on.
Anna Parsons here. Oh, go ahead.
Really quick. Hey, Dennis, could you stop screen share? And we pretty much have to make our offers, but Emily, I'll give you the floor.
Yes, Anna Parsons here. I just want to say a real quick thank you to Microcastles for acknowledging that I'm here, since neither of my peers have done that yet. And I just quickly want to say that we're at Anna Parsons are really interested in interpretive experiences. We're not for the traditional gamer coming into a console, playing this game while eating Doritos and drinking Mountain Dew. And I don't think that's the experience you really intend for your audience. And so we'd like to offer you 4 Parson bucks to produce your game. We think it's great. And we think that our audience would love having this interpretive personal experience.
I'm offering 10. Is there an offer from Microcastles?
My CEO is unfortunately a little depressed right now. I think he's going through a divorce or something, so I couldn't get an answer out of him. So we'll have to recuse ourselves from this one.
Okay. I think I'll go with Anna Parsons because of the audience. I think that's one of the most important things. So I'll have to turn down the higher offer and just hope I survive.
We look forward to working with you, Kostas.
Perfect.
Awesome. Okay.
It's unbelievable. A beautiful game. Beautiful game.
Yeah, beautiful game.
Yeah, I
Such
like
a cool experience.
the fuzzy kind of atmospheric thing. It's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, great work. Next we have Unmute with Cindy Fan.
I'll do the screen share right now. Can you see this?
Yeah.
All right, I'll start. So hi, I'm Cindy Fan, and my game is called Unmute. And so the concept is basically that this video game is about my personal experience of trying to understand my father. And the story is told in a metaphorical way where in the game, the main character will enter a company building and learn about the boss of the company while going upstairs. And the player will control the main character to do things like observing clues and overhearing conversations happening in the other rooms. And eventually they will collect key cards to go upstairs and then meet with the boss, who's also going to be the father of the character. So I drew a lot of inspiration narrative-wise from the Red Strings Club and Cyberpunk Bartender Action. And I learned a lot about how to build up a character through dialogues between other characters from these two games. And for aesthetic references, I was referencing The Art of Hyperlight Drifter and The Head of Dead Cells visual making of these two art books. And also an artist on Patreon called Pedro Madrials. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. And he has a lot of tutorials that are really helpful for me to create my game. And these are some early prototypes I created for the game and a visual storyboard. And at the beginning, I was trying to create the game in a 3-dimensional environment, and I was aiming to create a 2.5-dimensional feeling. But then I realized that sometimes there's layering issues going on, so I eventually switched to the current one. Oh, sorry. The current one, which I'm using a 2D environment. I'll just show a little bit because someone's gonna play my game afterwards. But this is how my game looks like right now. And thank you. I'll stop the screen
Thanks,
sharing.
Cindy. Cindy, are you comfortable having your camera on?
Oh, right. I
Okay, cool.
forgot. Sorry.
All right. So yeah, Dennis is gonna do a playthrough, and here we go.
Okay, 1 second. I just need to make sure I have my Windows set up correctly. Okay. I'm guessing that's
I think the volume is pretty loud.
okay. Turn it down.
Yeah, probably get pretty low. Yeah.
Try it at about there. How does that sound?
That sounds better.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like the pixel art in the background a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah, it looks really good.
I love eavesdropping as a mechanic. That's great.
I see. Okay.
That would be something I would need to fix.
No worries. It looks like I might need to restart the game.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
Will you talk? Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so Cindy, what was happening there? It was expecting a key, even though that wasn't the interactive.
I think it's because I forgot to turn off the dialog box when you exit the elevator area.
What would you say is your target audience for this game?
Honestly, I mainly made this game for myself because that experience was kind of something that I've been trying to avoid. And it's maybe if I have time to translate this into Chinese, my father would also be the target audience.
Why do you say that?
Because it's about my experience understanding him, but we never really talked about that. And I guess also this game could be targeted towards people with like similar experiences.
Can you talk a little bit more about the narrative arc? We're like at Anna Parsons really interested in personal stories, so we love this concept. You like, especially like having this this like family interpersonal conflict. So can you talk a little bit about like the arc of the narrative, what happens throughout the game?
Basically, you are entering this building and I'm not saying it directly, but the main character is also trying to meet with her father, and she's supposedly having similar emotional state with like what I had back in my high school years. And she's like going upstairs to enter into the final room, and then throughout the way she's going up there, she will overhear conversations like these that are somewhat related to the boss of the company, which is also gonna be her father.
So you're sort of realizing her mental state through her like reflection on these other conversations.
Yeah, because I based it on my real experience, and what happened back then was we didn't really talk for like 3 to 4 years, and then the only way I would be able to understand him was through observing like things around him, and also like hearing other people talking about him, and that's what I'm trying to translate into this game.
Micro Castles has always been a proud supporter of indie games, going way back. And I think this game would fit in very well with our library of games on our downloadable service. So yeah, I think we'd be willing to offer, to start out, let's say 4 Parsons for your game.
Yeah, I think this game is really, really cool. Kind of reminds me of something like Kentucky Route Zero. I really love the pixel art, especially that plant. I'm really attracted to what's going on with the drawing of that plant. Nintendo Baby Tendo is known for really some of the most iconic pixel art ever, right? When you think about pixel art, you often think about what Mario looks like, and I think this kind of sits alongside some of those things. And of course, we love to support indie developers, so I'm gonna put an offer down for $7.
Yeah, I love this game. I love that what you took with your own story and put it into this interactive experience that's very personal, very specific to you, to this in this particular situation. And I love the art. I love the mechanics. I can't match 7, but I'm going to offer you 4 Parsons bucks for this game.
Should I make a decision right now?
Or does someone want to up the ante?
I think Micro Castles could go up to 5 Parsons bucks. But remember, when you're with Baby Tendo, again, you have to consider that there's some prestige involved with being with a company as big and as well known as Microcastles. Imagine being able to tell your family that you're making a game for the famous Baby Gates. So
Well, it seems like you're making a game for you, and there are. This is a personal experience, but I don't think this isn't a entirely unique experience. I think other people have had a similar arc with their family, trying to understand family members. And so I think we can give you a platform at Anna Parsons to reach out to those specific people who could relate to this experience and might feel they might connect to this game and make them reflect on their own relationships with their family.
So, I'm trying to support the developer with $7, right? I don't hear that from everybody else. I'm trying to give you directly the money, and I think that's what you should be, looking for, some genuine respect, which I see a lot of talk about, what your values should be. I'll let you decide your own values with the most amount of money that I'm giving you. I don't see anyone else.
You're an artist. I can tell you're an artist, so you understand that it's not all about.
You're an artist, so you can, live in a windowless room, like I have for the past 5-6 years.
I don't think in this personal narrative that Mario was involved. So
you're not upping the ante, so until you up the ante, I don't want to hear anything else from either of you. 7. I'll make it 8 actually out of spite.
I think I'll go with baby Nintendo. What is it called?
Nintendo.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, really, really cool game. I truly love eavesdropping as a means for character development. Is fantastic. That's such a good thing, just listening through the door.
It was a really cool moment the first time I realized that I could talk to somebody and then go into the next room and listen to what they're saying behind my back. I think there's a lot of potential for that idea. It's really cool.
Thank you.
Michelle, were you clapping or did you have your hand up?
Oh, I was clapping.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. Thanks. That was awesome. Next, we are going on with Annalise, who's waving. And Annalise, you can begin screen sharing whenever you're ready.
I gotta make sure I unmute myself first. Okay, so my name is Annalise, and this is my thesis project, The Sacred Magus Crest. The Sacred Magus Crest is a game where the player can learn and have fun, and I really wanted to design a game to help people learn the English language, because when it comes to educational games, I find that there's more for subjects such as math and science, which rely on numbers, and not really anything with languages, which is a field that I'd like to step into. So I wanted to create this game because I wanted a different system when it comes to education, where you can learn the basics and the foundations of a language that is fun, that doesn't rely on a simple textbook or using a presentation or reading a paper or just looking at books all the time, because I think that people deserve to have fun while they are learning. So when researching this concept idea, I really wanted to delve into TESOL, which is teaching English to speakers of other languages, or L students, which is English language learners. And I sat in a class with an L teacher, and I've noticed that they really take you to the beginner level, which would be about kindergarten. And as an adult, I personally thought it was strange that you'd start so low, but it makes sense on a conceptual level because everyone has to start somewhere. And if you don't know anything about the English language, starting from the kindergarten level is the best way to go. And starting at that level means you get to have fun with your images or videos and stuff like that that you show, because it's really about introducing you to this language. So for my project, some of the ideas I went through is I definitely wanted to make a 2D game that had an RPG style to it, which means you can roam around with your character and play different levels that could be puzzle levels or fighting levels, but they wanted to still have the core mechanic that was teaching. So these are some gifts from my design process. And in conclusion, I think I would love to add more feedback visually as well as with audio, and to create more levels of various difficulty, as well as adjusting the color palette to be a little bit more beginner, kid-friendly, because right now I did notice it kind of felt dark and dreary in some places, and that's not really inviting. And I'd love to create a mobile version of this game for those who may not have access to the internet or a computer, who wouldn't be able to play the game. Thank you for listening to my project.
Thank you. Okay, and Dennis, this is your final Let's Play.
Okay, let me boot it up. All right, can everybody see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll use this opportunity to do another sound check. I'm guessing
it's kind of loud. I would turn it down. Yeah.
The game audio is louder than the mic audio.
Actually, not quite sure why it's that loud. I definitely lowered
I
it.
think it does
That's
get
just
reset
that's
every
just a
time.
streaming thing.
How does this sound now?
Now it's barely audible.
Too quiet.
Maybe click it.
I'll turn it up.
You can,
yeah.
Yeah, you can barely hear the sound.
I'd say put it like a little bit above halfway, a little bit around halfway. Like from.
Let me try this.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
I think you might want to restart it so you can see what the text was before.
Good call. Good call. I'll do that. All right. Hello there and welcome to World. I really could use your help, traveler. Oh, silly me, I've forgotten to introduce myself. You can call me Draco. I will be your guide. This world is being invaded by some strange creatures. Will you help us in saving our world? Wonderful. I'm so glad you are welcome, traveler. Oh, before I forget again, this is my sister. She doesn't speak much, but don't worry, she can still communicate with you. She carries around a special cord to help her talk. So don't be afraid to ask her for help. Well, that's all for now. We'll see you again later. Bye. All right, hello again. Do you see that creature over there? That's one of the invaders' underlings. You should probably stop them before they harm anyone else. You see those words floating there? Type the correct letter out, just spell it correctly. Each letter you get right does a bit of damage to that underling. Good luck, traveler. See you later.
Can you talk a little bit about the narrative arc of these two characters going through these dungeons, fighting these underlings?
Yeah, so I wanted to create a fantasy world where you have these two characters, Draco and Nova. They are essentially your guides for the game. So they will guide you through, and if you ever need help, they will in the future be points like, so you can go up there and ask them like how could you like progress through the level if you're stuck, and they'll tell you a little bit more about what the world is around you. And what I really want to do for the future is essentially create a hub, which would be kind of where these guides live, so that you can always go back there to either learn more history about the world, change your level difficulty, and play different types of levels.
Nice.
So can you talk a little bit about the language learning aspects of this game? Like sort of what is the basics of the way the language learning aspect works? Like what are you trying to teach?
So for the game, I know this level doesn't clearly express it, but I took letters that would be found, not letters, words that would be found in the basics foundation set of words that you'd learn in the beginning, and scrambled them up. These are words that TESOL teachers use when they're going through the alphabet. So it'll be A, apple, A, or B, bat, ba. So I really wanted to take these words that you'd start with, and then first teach you like spelling them, and then eventually I want you to be able to even speak and then hear it back, so you can hear the sounds of the words.
In the future, you're planning on having voiceover and having like someone speaking the words in addition to seeing them on the screen?
I'd like the player to speak the word and then hear it back, so that they can hear how the word sounds. Because when talking to professors who teach English in this field, sound was very important to them. And having the students be able to hear the words that they're saying and the words that they're speaking, not just seeing it or hearing somebody else say it. What was important was they themselves hearing the word and hearing how they sound hearing the word.
I have a question. I see that there's like some clear like JRPG influence. It kind of, for some reason, this battle screen reminds me of Chrono Trigger. I was curious as to are you like really inspired by JRPGs, or what are some of your favorites?
I really enjoy the RPG aesthetic of essentially a free roaming space where you can kind of just roam around and explore and do whatever you want. It's not like a clear guideline like a platformer that tells you have to go left or you have to go right. I like that RPGs give you the freedom of movement, so that's really what I wanted for this, to give you the freedom to choose where you want to go.
Oh, and I was curious if you do like those, are there some that directly inspired this, or do you have any favorites?
As far as RPGs go in general, I think one of my favorites probably is Destiny, but Destiny is very far from this as a concept. But I don't play RPG games as much as I'd like to. But yeah.
A white woman who has power, Anna Parsons, of course, loves the diversity of our audience, but we really do appreciate this learning language aspect of the game, and we think our audience would appreciate that too. And so we want to offer you 3 Parsons bucks to make this game, to produce it.
Microcastles, as you know, we're not us. We don't just make games, we also make software. That's the most part. And we're also, as a global Parker.
Oh, Dennis.
We can barely hear you.
Drowned out a little bit. You could probably stop screen sharing.
Okay. So I'm not sure how much you heard, but I guess the point that I was getting at was we're very interested in this as maybe a competitor to some of the language learning programs like Duolingo and whatnot. Well, we're wondering how integral the typing aspect is to your game. Do you see this as being something that could not just be on PC requiring a keyboard, but something that could translate to other devices as well?
Yes, well, other devices as far as mobile, because I really want it to be accessible to those who may not have a lot. And even sometimes a computer is luxury, but having a cell phone nowadays, almost everyone has one. So I'd love to put it on a platform that is accessible to everyone. So definitely mobile, and the PC is where I want to be.
As a company that's really invested in the Montessori style of education, making things like Baby Labo, right? I'm interested in this from an educational perspective, and also from, you know, just like this JRPG, like SNES style. I think would be really, you know, that would engage our fan base a lot. So I'm what did Emily say? 3?
I said 3.
I'll offer 4.
Microcastles will offer 5.
6. I'm going up to 6.
We can match that, absolutely. So Microcastles will also offer 6.
7.
I think I will go with my gut on this, and I will go with Baby Tendo.
Baby Tendo. What was the Baby Tendo offer? 7?
7. How much do I have left?
You have 20 Parsons bucks left.
All
right. Yeah, you guys have a decent amount of money. Cool. Okay.
I'm dealing with a bunch of cheapskates here.
Yeah. Okay. Great work. Before I start getting sidetracked in the numbers, congratulations again, Annalise. So next up we have Author's Quest by Daniel Hahn, and after the presentation, Emily, this will start your 3 of your let's plays.
Okay. Do they already have like a link to my game?
Yeah, because it's on the website.
Okay. All right. Hello, my name is Daniel Hahn. The name of my game is Author's Quest. That's kind of a working title. My thesis concept is a 2D platformer and supposed to embody the idea of freedom within constraints. The premise is that you're in like a storybook world that's been corrupted in some way by like some malevolent force, and it's up to you, the player, to stop this evil that's like corrupting the world and like pretty much erased and destroyed it. The questions I want to ask myself while creating this game is, what's giving the player too much freedom? What's giving them too little freedom? Where can I strike the balance between there? And another big question I want to ask myself is, what can I do in a game development team scenario? Like, what can I focus on? How can I contribute? And through this entire process, I've learned that I'm mostly pretty good at like coding and things like creative concept designs. The type of research I did for this game is looking into interviews and books about freedom of choice and like actions within video games. One that really stuck with me was the creator of Nier Automata and his opinion on like how to create this feeling of freedom within a game, which is giving the players a world and then letting them do things outside what they thought they could. For mechanical references, I looked towards games like Shovel Knight and Hollow Knight, and took some inspiration about using ink from Okami. For aesthetic references, I took inspiration from games like Paper Mario or Bug Fables, and kind of like the moody aesthetic of Bendy and the Ink Machine and Bloodborne. For developing my game, I started off doing like just mood boards, trying to think like what games I want to incorporate, what kind of aesthetic designs, and then I started just making game prototypes. The goals I have for the future of this game, if I could further develop on it, would be to create bigger, more expansive worlds and levels, and create like bosses that the player can fight. And I have like maybe separate the entire game into like kind of story chapters, like trying to restore the world by chapter, and add like better animations, maybe better like mechanics such as leveling up or other such unique things, and new monsters and such as that. Thank you. Sorry if that was like too short. Do you want me to like talk more about it?
Yeah, we'll ask you questions during the gameplay.
Yeah, you'll just get questions. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. Can everyone see
What the?
it? Oh, wait, let me make it. I think I clicked the wrong full screen. There we go.
It still shouldn't look like that. Oh, well.
Storybook world of fantasy has been defiled and its worlds reduced to barren wastelands filled with monsters made of corrupt ink. Travel through the pages and destroy the source of this corruption using your own ink to travel around.
What the hell?
Maybe Emily, do you want to try refreshing? Daniel, you said you did a update kind of recently.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe the problem is like full screening? No, that's not it. What's up?
It could be something with the screen size in Unity. You might have an issue where you didn't scale that properly, because that does sometimes happen.
No, but I'm pretty sure I set it so it always maintains the same aspects no matter what.
Well, if the game is still playable, let's see.
Let's just play.
Yeah.
We'll play, and you can talk about it as it goes.
Oh wait, I'll try like exiting out full screen again, because I remember that the last time. Okay, yeah, just play it like this then.
Okay, great. Let's click to attack enemies. Replenish ink. Right click to create platforms. Oh, cool.
I really like that the character is transparent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you not getting any sound through?
Oh, I am. Can you not hear it? Let me.
Yeah, we're not hearing it. You can.
Sorry about that.
Here we go.
Great. Be careful. And on the ink well for ink. Oh, I'm pretty inked up. Oh, but I can use it for. I can my help.
So, you were talking a little bit about your inspirations for this game.
Yes.
You mentioned some games like Okami and Nier Automata, and I was wondering if that tells me that maybe you're trying to target core gamers.
I'm sorry, you're kind of like your connection's kind of bad. Can you repeat yourself?
Well, I think it's the audio coming through. Emily, could you turn the volume down a little bit more?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's just Zoom automatically is going for whatever's louder. Yeah. And Dennis, Dennis, go ahead.
So I was asking if I was getting the sense from some of the games that you talked about as your inspirations that maybe you're trying to target this game towards core gamers, so to speak. Is that assumption correct?
Kind of, yeah. Like, I would eventually like to make this game like more difficult, add like kind of like more Souls-esque mechanics where they level up and get stronger over time and like face stronger monsters. but
Great.
I am
Well,
flexible
as
with
you
like how I
know-
want to develop this game.
That sounds great to us. As you know, Microcastles, we have a broad audience. We appeal to everybody. But among those people are the hardcore gamer, and they are, huge fans of our consoles. So I think you'd be right at home with us. I'm sure you agree. So let's not hear any other offers. We're ready to offer you 10 Parsons bucks right off the bat.
I definitely saw. Well, I think this is going to be a little bit contentious because I saw some references very clearly to some Microcastles properties and some Baby Tendo properties, right? So I think it's going to be a fight for who pays the most for your game. I'm going to match, right? I'll match at 10.
Very interesting. One thing that my CEO is pointing out is that some of these ink drawing features could actually be a good fit, like you're using a mouse for this game. And I could see that maybe translating well into our new version of the Kinect, using maybe hand gestures to draw some of these platforms. So I think given that, Microcastles would be willing to up our offer to maybe 12 Parsons bucks.
We at Anna Parsons love this game. We love the ink. We love the writing and having that as a resource. We cannot match $10 or $12. We don't have the resources. However, we wish we could. If you would consider, we would give you 3. I know that's difficult to take since you're going to need a lot of development to make this game as fruitful as it can be, but we do love it, and we do love it conceptually and would love to work with you.
I will I'll raise mine. I'll match at 12. I'll match at 12. This is clearly, I think there's like a lot of opportunity for, especially on the Switch, of using the touch screen. Playing Bayonetta with the touch screen is pretty fun on Nintendo Switch, and I think this could also use some features like that.
Well, now it's up to you to make the right decision, Daniel, and I trust that you'll pick us, and we'll leave it up to you.
I'm sorry it has to be this way, Dakar, but working for Baby Tendo has always been a dream of mine.
That's what I thought. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice work.
Thank you for having me.
What was the offer? 12?
Yeah, it's 12. So I have
12,
8.
12 to Baby Tendo. Okay. Good work. Awesome. Let's go ahead with the next one, which is Birds Don't Cry at Sunrise. So Jib, you now have the floor.
Let me share my screen.
Not yet.
Can everyone see this?
Looks like there we go. There we go.
Okay. Okay, so I start. Hi everyone, my name is Jib, and this is my game called Birds Don't Cry at Sunrise. So Birds Don't Cry at Sunrise is a short narrative-driven game that focuses on depicting the story of a child and parent with opposing beliefs, which lead to a falling out within the household. And the game will provide a 2D psychological horror experience in which the player can make progress through exploring the different spaces, interacting with objects, and solving simple puzzles. And so the questions that I explore in order to make this project are how to use horror as metaphors to tell a story from the real world, as well as how to use environmental storytelling as a way to reflect the psychological state of a character. And the goal of this project is to lead the player through an artistic and abstract experience in order to come to an understanding about the topic of beliefs and oppression, and for them to be able to find relation to it in their own way. And I chose the game medium as a way to allow the audience to be able to go through the story at their own pace. And so the story of the game revolves around a girl called Lynn, and it focuses on Lynn's relationship with her father. So the characters live in a place where the sunflower deity is believed to be protecting the land, and the people must give blood as offerings as a way to express their faith and to be ensured a happy and healthy life. However, as Lynn starts to grow up, she starts to question this belief and especially her father's acts of faith. And with that, their relationship starts to crumble. And until one night, Lynn wakes up to find herself alone in her own house with her father nowhere to be found. And as the house starts to get distorted into a nightmarish state, Lynn will venture out into the darkness of the house in order to find out what happened to her home. So these are the characters. That's Lynn, the character, the player we're playing as. That's her father. This is how the sunflower deity looks like. And this is the enemy character in which the player can encounter. So I started making the game by creating storyboards and concept art. And I really focus on the story aspect as well as the aesthetic style of the game for this. And so with that, I started making the game in Unity by first creating gray box prototypes and did a lot of playtesting on that. And at the same time, creating character and asset design in Photoshop to use in the game. So these are how some of the scenes in the game looks like. As you can see, the player can be seen from third-person perspective, and they either move in the left or right direction. I try to focus on the atmospheric quality of the game as well as the art style, which I chose to make it in a collage-like style, creating assets from pictures and mixing them with hand-drawn drawings. So the gameplay is pretty simple. These are the controls. So the player either moves in the left or right direction with the left and right arrow keys. And then the up arrow is for interacting with objects, making conversation, and collecting stuff. And the down arrow is for closing out the windows. And another important control is the space bar, in which the player can press repeatedly in order to fight against the enemy's power, as you can see to the right here. And finally, for future plans, if I get more funding, I'm planning on polishing more into visuals, especially also the sound design part, since what I did for this version is the bare minimum, and I really want to do more of the sound design part to create the atmosphere more, and also adding extra scenes for the story aspect, and then after those refinements, releasing a new version. And I'm also interested in releasing a new version on other type of consoles other than PC and Mac version that I have right now as well, and also possibly releasing it in other languages. Thank you.
Okay, let me get it running.
Immediately, I really like the character design. I love those like barrels with the faces on them.
Yes.
Those look really cool.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm assuming it's a little loud, so I will fix that. It's good?
A little bit lower.
Yeah, a little lower. Yeah, I think.
Here?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, space, resist, right and left move, up to interact, down to close. Great. I love the collage art. The way it's blocked. Can I resist that? No. It's a lot of missing people. First, give back our friends. Get back up.
The art looks great in game too.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about how you arrived at this sort of collage art style and how it relates to the theme of the game?
So, I wanted to, well, one of the main reasons is the time constraint, and I cannot hand draw on everything in the time that I had. But I also, I was making the concept art for the game, I started off by creating collages for the concept, which I really like the style that I came up with, and so I ended up using it in the final version.
There's a lot of dialogue in this game that, like, a lot of like interesting interwoven narratives, it seems. Can you talk a little bit about your writing process?
So I like created storyboards for the story, and my process for creating the story was more like traditional storytelling, and I had like storyboards where I created, and then after that I kind of shuffle them in different orders and pick out the one that I thought was the best fit to make the game in, and then started doing that for the game.
So you said you're interested in localizing this game to other languages. And with this much text, I think that's going to be a lot of work. And of course, Microcastles has the money to pay for that. And maybe some of these other companies don't. So something to consider there. And maybe I'll get the bidding started, and we're willing to right off the bat offer 7 Parsons bucks.
Okay, we at Anna Parsons love this game. We think the narrative is really compelling. The art style is beautiful, and we would love to make this game come to life. We are going to match 7 Parsons bucks and give you the audience and the resources you need to make this game accessible to people who speak many different languages.
It's a good offer and a good pitch, but remember that Microcastles is a global corporation, and we are experienced with releasing products on a global scale. And I'm not sure that Anna Parsons is. They're a little bit smaller than us, just saying.
We do want to preserve the integrity of your game and give you as creative control, give you an audience who will appreciate all the different intricacies of this game. And 7 Parsons bucks, I think, will help you do that.
Of course, we would ask you, as we do all of our developers, to add achievements and gamer points to your game. But other than that, we totally respect your integrity as an artist. And we're also willing to offer 8 Parsons bucks.
I personally would like to play this game, and I really love the collage aesthetic. I think the audio is really evocative, and I feel like I'm in suspense. I don't know what's going to happen. However, I can only offer $2.
Do I? Okay.
I think we've all made our final offers.
Yeah, so you decide who you want to go with, or if you want to try to go on your own.
I'm gonna go with Anna Parsons' offer.
We look forward to working with you. We think our audience will love this game and everything you put into it.
Awesome. Emily, what was your offer?
7.
Okay. Nice.
But out of character, yeah, I really do like the atmosphere and the art of this game. It's really, really memorable and well put together.
Yeah, this is very, very cool. The collage, especially in the like horror collage elements, are like really cool, very evocative.
Yeah, I like a lot of the character design with like the hands and
the way they move, the animation with the collage. It's super cool.
Yeah, I didn't have much time to really absorb the story or the horror elements. in the time that we had now, but definitely interested. Definitely got my attention.
I'm from a very small company, so I haven't, opened my mic before, but I was just so curious. I think there might have even been another monster in there that we haven't even met, but I don't know. I'll talk to you offline. I think I might be able to make a better offer because I think this is incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah, great work, Jib. Since we're slightly past halfway, I just want to check in with Flan and see how the chat's going. Are there any questions that have been rolling in that we've just kind of been blowing by?
No, haven't gotten any questions. Mostly just people commenting, like calling out the things that they really like about the games. If you want, I can kind of go back and read over some of those, but
Yeah.
I've mostly just been watching for questions. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to give us like a quick summary of some highlights?
Yeah. Let me scroll back here. Oh yeah. So for the first game, people were saying that the visuals were really incredible. Yeah. And then for the second game, someone was talking about how they don't really like the term walking simulator for games because it puts the emphasis on the verb of walking rather than the whole experience. Talking about, well, maybe they should be called like environmental exploration or something like that. But that the game itself is really cool. And people were also saying for that one that they liked that there wasn't a specific place that the player was being like guided to go in, that it was more like a self-determined exploration experience. Moving on, for the third game, people were saying how much they like the pixel art style and how personal it is. Blending an adventure game with personal experience. And then just going through these here. Oh yeah, and people also really like the eavesdropping mechanic for that one, which I agree is really cool. Going on, people in the language learning game, people are calling out that they enjoy the chibi characters in the RPG. And then we were talking about Anna Parsons for a minute in chat. So there was some discussion around if Anna Parsons' name is in fact Anna Parsons, or if she is simply a representative of Anna Parsons. You can choose to comment or not comment on that, the representative. You can remain a mystery if you want.
We appreciate the ambiguity and the ability for our audience to interpret all content, including our game.
Well, we should break the fourth wall for this because I think it helps people know what's going on.
My name is not Anna Parsons. I am representing Anna Parsons, which is a parody of Annapurna. My name is Emily, if you can see on my Zoom.
Thank you so much for that insight, Anna Parsons. Moving on, we got for Author's Quest, people are saying they really like the ink and paper aesthetic of it. Alexander King says it looks very different from the last time he saw it. And then finally, for our Sunflower God game, most people are just commenting about how much they really like the art style and that it's really stylistically strong. I think that's everything. Let me know if I missed any games in there.
No, you got a comment for everybody. Thanks so
awesome.
much, Vaughn.
Yeah, no problem. I can try to read more of like the just comments too. But yeah.
Or if you want, we could do the final part 2 at the end as well.
Cool.
But if there's a question, definitely jump in so we don't breeze by it.
Okay, awesome.
Okay, JP, before we move on, could you remind us how many games are left? And sorry.
There is 4 games left.
Okay. And what are our totals?
Okay, this is what you got. You can see Baby Tindo's got a lot of offers, but spent a lot of money. Kind of been blowing through it. Microcastles started out rich, is still rich, but hasn't necessarily made a lot of. I'm not screen sharing.
Oh, I can see it. It's funny. I'm watching it on Twitch. So I saw it on Twitch.
Oh, okay. But here's for everybody. So yeah, Blake, you got 8. Dennis has 34 and Emily has 14. Emily, I think you made a really, you're getting more aggressive, and I think that you're getting some clutch moves in there now. So I appreciate that. It looks like Microcastle doesn't really need to sweat, but maybe needs to get a little more aggressive with their big rival over here, Baby Tindo, who's like pulling in all the partnerships.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah, Alexander King in chat wanted me specifically called me out for censoring his comment, "All hail the sunflower god." So I just wanted to let him know that I'm not censoring his comment. I will broadcast that he said that. So okay, there we go.
Awesome.
Thank you for Alexander King.
So Shantanu, you are up next with Revenge. Are you ready, sir?
Sure. One sec. Let me screen share. Screen. Here we go. All right. Everyone can see. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, excellent. Good evening, everybody. My name is Shantanu, and this is going to be a brief talk about my game Revenge. So Revenge itself is a 2-dimensional platformer shooter with a primarily diegetic user interface that is used to provide players with the information they need. I was mainly guided by 2 questions throughout this entire process. The first one being how to communicate information to a player using primarily diegetic UI in a way that they'll understand and be able to make choices with the ability to make informed choices. And the second question was, how can I convey information about a character or character development through gameplay mechanics? So this was a brief set of guiding examples that I looked into when it came to my game. And these were the 4 main ones. They are Journey, World of Goo, Framed, and White Knight. From Journey, I was mainly influenced by sort of primary use of diegetic UI. From Framed, I was primarily influenced by its characters. From White Knight, I took its sort of silhouetted art style that influenced a specific mechanic of mine. And World of Goo, I generally kind of did like its art style, and it did inform it a little bit. So these are a few like preliminary prototypes that I created. The first one on the left is a progression prototype of what the ultimate game will end up being. By the end, it's essentially a storyline kind of idea where you have the main character, the main bosses, and the 5 sets of levels. Then I went about designing those levels. This is the current core game. This is the core gameplay level, which is a street side, and this is a little bit more progress into that street side level, including some character sprites as well as a little bit of the background change. And this is the most updated version with new character sprites, instructions that are displayed on the street sign here, and currently the background change is still taking effect, but the main draw of the final updated version are the new updated sprites and the instructions mostly. So as for the future of this game, my final goal with this would be to finish the whole experience and upload it onto my website. Currently there is 1 fully functioning level, and I do intend to have, and by the end I want there to be 5 levels of this, 5 levels in this game. I also intend to further polish my animations. I have certainly gone into polishing them quite a bit, but I think they could be better. And finally, I think that I would like to, in addition to those 5 levels, I'd like bosses and to actually create animated cutscenes for the product, because I think that will really help convey the story a little bit more in an interesting manner. So thanks. And if you're going to play, then I shall relinquish screen control to you.
Was
that too fast, by the way?
No, that's fine.
Awesome.
Yeah. Perfect.
All right, let me know about the sound once we get rolling.
I can hear it.
Sounds okay to me, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, great. I want you to move. That's EMB.
LMB.
LMB.
Left mouse button.
Oh, left mouse button. Thank you.
Sorry. I should really write that. Yeah, so.
I love the art. Like the way the
seriously?
background. Yeah, I think it's really cool. Oh, shoot,
has a pretty distinct style to it. That reminds me a little bit of there's an indie developer called Jake Clover who yeah, your art style kind of evokes his style to me.
Oh, that's fantastic. You can knock over the enemy. That's wonderful.
You're not shooting them.
Yeah, I'm.
Oh, you didn't pick up the ammunition. I probably should have told you to, huh? It's okay. Just keep going. It's fine. I think.
I knocked him down, so.
Yeah.
I like this, like, kind of like reminds me of the game Rage, and there's like a little bit of Spawn in there or something. Yeah, I like the style.
Kind of has like a 90s comics aesthetic to it too.
Yeah,
well,
I was trying to go for like because Framed was one of the inspirations, and Framed is basically like comic panels. That's a gameplay. So I was like, oh man, it would be really interesting if I tried to do something in a similar vein to that. But I obviously had to be distinct, otherwise I'd get sued.
Well, as Microcastles, we see blood, we see shooting, we see guns. And to us, this game screams core gamer. And as you know, we have a huge audience of core gamers. And we think that we would be the ideal home for you. And I think you know that too. But just to make sure that you understand our commitment to your game, we're willing to upfront offer a full 12 Parsons bucks for this game.
That's a
Actually,
big
wait,
number.
Baby Tendo has 8, so 9. 9 right off the bat.
I think that's kind of the sign that you're gonna get from Microcastles. I think this is a pattern that you're seeing from him. He's not.
So what's the
able
final
to,
value for Microcastles? I didn't catch it.
It was 9. So he dropped the offer, and you should see that as
Baby Tendo. Let's hear your offer.
I'm literally just writing these down just so I know.
my offer. So this reminds me of something like Travis Strikes Again. It's in the kind of revenge, violent themed game. I'll offer, just because we only have 8 left. We have to see what's coming up next. I'll offer 1.
Wow.
Okay, I mean that's insulting. I don't have to say anything about that.
To be fair, I honestly think I deserve that.
Not at all. No. You deserve 9 Parsons bucks, and Microcastles is willing to offer that right now.
We at Anna Parsons like the aesthetic of this game. We cannot offer you 9 or 12 Parsons bucks. We can offer you 3 Parsons bucks. We do think that the aesthetic is interesting, and that there's a narrative in here. This may not be our usual game that we produce, but we think our audience will be something unique.
Look, I mean, we already know you're going to go with Microcastles, but just to show our respect and our commitment to you, just purely out of generosity, we'll up the offer to 10 Parsons bucks.
Okay, I'll be perfectly honest. I didn't think I'd make it this far.
It is a game. We are
Yeah.
playing a game. This isn't based on. I mean, based on my personal taste, this is definitely up my alley, especially in terms of the art style.
Yeah, the art styles is great. I can't believe
Seriously?
you were surprised when I complimented it. It looks, the background looks so cool.
Yeah. Thanks. I'm genuinely surprised. I think I'll go with. I'm sorry, Baby Tendo and Anna Parsons, but I believe Microcastles currently has my vote. And especially since this is a PC game, it only seems natural.
Yeah,
I don't
we
think
could easily port it to console as well.
All
We'll put
things
it everywhere.
all things considered, I don't think Baby Tendo would like a game with that kind of title screen.
It's called Baby Tendo. Name speaks for itself. But no, out of character, I understand why you would think that the art style is, yeah, it's not like traditionally technically skilled, you know, in the sense of like, you know, having like professional illustrator type style to it. But I think you do a good job of working with what you have. And there is like a certain style of like indie game that kind of is in that wheelhouse online.
Yeah, I would check out like Revenge of the Sunfish and like Jake Clover games. Kind of reminds me of a similar look.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great work.
Thank you.
So the final offer was $10, 10 Parsons bucks from Micro.
For Microcastles, Baby Tendo had 1, Anna Parsons had 3.
Well,
yes, I wrote this down.
Okay. Cool. So that's what we go with. So now it's Homesick.
Okay. Yeah, I can I can do the questions and comments then at the end.
Oh shoot. Flan, yeah, if there's a question, go for it.
Well, there was a question, but I think it was already answered in chat. But someone asked what the shrinking cone of light means. In Revenge, the answer in chat says the light cone shrinks as he gets hit.
No, the light cone shrinks as he kills people. It's meant to signify this sort of tunnel vision that I was trying to get the character. Oh, I should have. Okay, so it was meant to signify the sort of tunnel vision that the character is supposed to have. He gets more obsessed with his goal, and as a result, he can only see what's in front of him. So it's cutting all that out. I did have to make it slightly translucent because otherwise you wouldn't be able to see your health.
Nice. And then just a comment from there is Alexander King says that he likes the way the enemies get totally blown away like they're just like cardboard cutouts. So another note on the art style.
Well, thank you, Alexander.
I like how when Alexander King makes comments, he gets his name shouted out.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it's just he's like commented on all the games, so I feel like
I think that's because he knows all of us.
Yeah.
So
he is literally a king.
Yeah. That too.
Literally a king.
Literally
I'll say that. I'll refer to him as literally a king.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Sweet.
That could be why. So.
Awesome. Nicole, I think you can go ahead. We can talk more about Alexander King at the end.
Okay. All right, hey guys, my name is Nicole, and this is my game called Homesick. So Homesick is a 2D interactive story that comments on the struggles of accepting oneself in our cis white heteronormative society. I found this game to be a part of my own journey to accepting who I am. And the context of this game is a little bit of background is like as someone who's half Filipino and half white growing up in a predominantly white neighborhood as a kid, I never truly understood my identity. I would ask questions like, why is my skin not pale enough? And like, why can't it be pale enough? Or why don't I look Filipino enough? And it would just be very frustrating for me to figure out who I was. And then I started to realize my sexuality again with the same frustrating commentary I would make in my head. And this led to me invalidating myself because I was just constantly surrounded by homophobia and racism. And that's why I wanted to make Homesick as a way to portray these feelings and emotions. So you start off as Tala, this character who ran away from home because she didn't like how her hometown was just very hateful and closed-minded. And the character design of Ta is very important to me because she wears an actual mask as a way to hide her identity. And throughout this game, it's just a metaphorical way on portraying this emotion. So throughout this forest you go through, you encounter obstacles like these statues who shine a light as like a way to say like you can't show yourself in the spotlight or else you'll get like caught or something like that. So yeah, a lot of this is just symbolic. And then you meet a character named Mara. She represents intrusive dark thoughts. She seems nice at first, but then along the story, you like realize she was just manipulating you and playing tricks throughout this whole journey. So yeah, this is like an example of what she would say. Like it was just like a trap for her and just to play around with her mind and emotion, just as a way to like represent intrusive thoughts. But my main focus with this game was the art. I wanted to experiment with the art because a lot of games nowadays, they're very polished and clean, but what would a game look like if it was more sketch-like and illustrative? Because I feel like that would stand out more. And then for research behind it, I was really into like how games are now representing LGBT and the BIPOC community and how these stereotypes affected people. So games like Night in the Woods and Life is Strange did this, where they properly portrayed people of color and the queer community, which led them to have this target audience love these games. And then there's like the positives, the bad stereotypes, like how films like Mean Girls would show bad stereotypes of Asians and thinking they can't speak English properly. So how can we like defeat that stereotype? Then I went through many iterations of stories and characters. So I went through like a group of characters who would just have this adventure throughout the game. But I had to scratch that because I felt like it didn't portray what I wanted to do. And then it progressed to these characters being more symbolic of these like emotions. So the next steps, I would love to polish the narrative and add more emphasis on the struggles of their journey. And I would love to develop Ta and Mara more as characters because I feel like they really help portray what these emotions are. And then add more animations and effects to the game to make it more visually appealing. And that's it. Thank you.
Is everybody able to see this?
Yep.
All right, cool. And let's hear the sound. Let's see.
Is it playing?
How does
right
that
now?
sound?
There we go. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I hear it.
Right. Loneliness began to sink in. The judgment words of others started to suffocate my every thought. I slowly felt like I was no longer me, like I was holding my true identity. I had to leave that place, the place I once called home. I can no longer take the pain it has caused. Off to find a new home.
Again, really nice art style. It's very cohesive. It feels like everything goes together in a way that, yeah, conveys like a really distinct theme. It's nice.
Yeah, I love the like limited color palette and the
like
environment.
The autumn sort of feeling going on.
Yeah.
This game is obviously very narrative driven. Can you also talk a little bit about your writing process, writing the dialogue?
Yeah, so it took me a while to figure out how I wanted to write this dialogue. That's why I went through like so many iterations of stories and characters. And then I just sat down and started writing when I figured out the characters on how I wanted to like the relationship between the characters, but also how Tala feels throughout the journey. And then I just started writing like what I would think in this situation. So yeah.
I like that moment right there, falling off. It's unexpected.
Can you talk a little bit about the, in terms of the gameplay, your inspirations? Like I'm seeing a little bit here that feels kind of like more of like a narrative or adventure game, but I'm also seeing some things that feel more like a platformer. So do you feel like there's another game that kind of helps encapsulate the sort of mix of those two elements that you're going for?
Yeah, I was really looking at Night in the Woods because I just really liked how they combined action, but also a lot of narrative and just how like the characters interact with the environment. So yeah.
Sorry, I was really concentrating on this timing puzzle. Yeah, the audio is really nice, and I like the full atmosphere that's going on with this game. It feels very polished. I also really like these like don't touch the edge sort of.
Oh, I didn't realize that's what was happening there.
Yeah,
cool.
the mini games are really cool. And a nice way to like chunk things up. What inspired those little mini game moments? Is that also sort of I guess Night in the Woods kind of does that, but this feels like kind of pretty distinct.
Yeah, it feels like more integrated in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just felt like it needed something else instead of just like going through a door. So that's why I decided to add like a mini game like that.
We have one question in chat. Someone asks, do you feel you would want to do multi-designs, which I assume means multiple designs and characters that Mara could be? And how would you want them to influence the choice or the limitation of choice?
I haven't thought of like iterations in Mara, but I did consider like adding more characters that Tala could interact with that might be bad influence or might be good influence. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, as I've mentioned before, at Anna Parsons, we love narrative experiences, especially things that are personal to our creators, to our auteurs. And we think this game is wonderful. We love the storyline, the presentation of it all, and we want to offer you 6 Parsons books to produce this wonderful personal experience that you've created.
I think this is cool. Having played it, it feels, it feels, I heard you talk about some of the things that you want to do with it, but it feels pretty finished for the most part. I feel like it feels like a complete package. I think this game speaks for itself in so many ways. As Baby Tendo, we do have Night in the Woods on the Switch, right? So I'm going to offer. What did Anna Parsons offer again? 6. I'll offer 5.
Well, at Microcastles, we love diversity. We love to support diversity, and we're willing to offer a full 3 Parsons bucks for this game. So, and just think of how you'll get your message out there to everybody with our support. So think about it.
I think that there's an obvious choice for this one.
I think I'll have to go with Anna Parsons.
Thank you. We are so excited to produce this game, this game is awesome. Like I want to have my own playthrough since I got to like sort of watch Blake's, but like really it's so beautiful. It has such an atmosphere. And I love this like representation of this conflict with this character.
Yeah, especially the backgrounds. I think the backgrounds.
Yeah, the backgrounds
really
are
lovely.
beautiful.
Thank you.
Cool.
Emily, what was your offer? 6?
6.
Okay. Awesome.
And yeah, small comment from chat. Hired Divas just points out specifically the fireflies are a very nice touch.
Well, thank you.
Great work.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is really cool. So let's go on to Michelle, if you're ready, Michelle. Here we go.
Michelle 2, and this is my project, Love Me, Love Me Not.
Oh, Michelle, could you turn up your mic or maybe get a little closer to it?
Okay.
Yeah, that's a bit better.
Is this better?
Yeah.
All right. So Love Me, Love Me Not is made on the Unity engine with the help of Fungus. It is a visual novel and garden simulation that takes place in Eden, this sort of post-apocalyptic world. But contrary to like the regular themes of like barren land, is filled with nature. So the gameplay includes watering your flower and interacting with other characters. You also can converse with your plant, and eventually this fairy will manifest. This flower will manifest into a fairy. So why I wanted to create this game is because I wanted to encourage other people to garden, this general love for life, and nurture a sense of value within them. Also, from an early memory, I remember my mom talking to her plants when she was watering them, and I never forgot that. So some inspiration, I looked at games like Verity, in which you grow succulent plants and have like a snail buddy. It's a highly customizable game, and it's really meditative. Another meditative game is Rosa's Garden, in which you grow roses. It's also educational because when you click on the roses, you can see facts about important women figures in history, and it's also like collectible in that you get more seeds and combine them and make more flowers. This game, Forget Me Not My Organic Garden, is also a visual novel and a clicker game. I was like very influenced to make a visual novel because of this game, and which is why in my early prototypes I had like this dark theme going on, but eventually I changed that. In my research, the first thing I researched was the relationship between the plant and the gardener. So I looked at the Botany of Desire by Michael Pollan, and I learned about this plant's eye view, and that I wanted to understand the experience of the flower that it can gain, and maybe I can even characterize that. Also learned about the term horticulture therapy, which is basically gardening therapy. You can observe the growth of the plant, and it sort of relates to one's own growth, showing that one effort has value and to even build confidence and self-esteem within them. So my early prototypes, I was trying to figure out how watering and conversing would work, and this was just like a flow I tried making on Adobe. But it included this button which show information. My early themes and my prototypes was like highly technologic, but that's not what I have for my final edition. Yeah, so I had these sketches in which one was in a laboratory, and they would have different evolutions. There was also like this sort of noir aesthetic. But I changed the context to that of like a botanical garden because it was more in lines of what I wanted to make, which is like something wholesome. But there was still like this fusion of technology and nature, and maybe even something magical because the manifestation of the flower into a fairy. There's also I wanted to represent the sort of reflection phase that one might go through when gardening. And so I thought I would do that in sort of this poem. And so I was prototyping that, and it turned into something like this, where you would write a poem to the flower in order to manifest it into reality. This is my favorite part, which is like character designing different orchids into little fairies. And for my future goals, I'd love to expand on gardening mechanics more, expand and include this sort of informative aspect, maybe add more orchids and have different evolutions plus characters, and even explore that sort of noir aesthetic that I wanted to do in my early prototypes and have that be like this sort of alternative timeline. Thank you. Okay.
Thanks, Michelle. Michelle, are you comfortable having your camera on?
Actually, I don't have a camera right now.
Oh, okay. All right. So yeah, we'll do. It was a little bit of a longer presentation, so maybe we'll do a slightly shorter play. But we're also not really strapped for time, so.
Okay. If there is like difficulty because my game is a visual novel, so it's very heavy on reading. I could sort of like skim through my recorded footage.
I think it's okay to just do it. We're sort of set up, and we'll just roll.
Right. Is the audio okay?
I think the audio.
Yeah, the audio seems to be fine.
All right, cool.
But Michelle, feel free to if you want to talk over any of it or tell us.
If you want to tell me to skip any part.
Yeah. So I wanted to design this like the protagonist into this sort of person who is riddled by anxiety. They don't have like that much confidence in themselves, and yeah, I think that's about it. So I have this like opening introduction of them thinking that this is just a dream, and then afterwards they will discover Lily, who is the caretaker of Eden, the botanical garden, who is like shocked because she hasn't seen another human in years or centuries.
The mood of this is really nice off the bat. I like this like kind of
this music is by Outgoing Hikikomori. I think I said that wrong, but yeah.
Hikikomori, or like the shut-in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the mood also set by the animation in the background and the sort of short cinematic that took place at the beginning of the game also added a really strong sense of mood, and it looks really good.
I like these characters.
Yeah, this music coupled with like these colors and the light movement. It does feel very like garden-esque, like the light little flowers drifting in the wind. What inspired your dialogue writing experience, having this since a lot of it is like about something external to the characters?
It's kind of funny because first I made the characters because I knew I wanted to make like a cast of people in this world, sort of like a small world, and then I wrote all the dialogue of what I was what I wanted to happen. But it was a lot of drafting to do that, and I have like a whole document of all the dialogue and then pasting it into Unity.
Yeah, I'm seeing some kind of intriguing themes here where, yeah, it seems like it's a post-apocalyptic setting actually, which I didn't really expect, and that's kind of intriguing too. I like the idea of like it's post-apocalyptic, but at the same time, it's almost like a paradise at the same time. It's not like a wasteland, you know?
Yeah, I love even these little elements in the background of the plants kind of receding, and I love the camera panning is really exciting. It kind of like makes it feel a little like it is a visual novel, right? But it feels like it's a little bit different from like the more typical format, which is nice.
Yeah, I took a lot of inspiration from the visual novel Forget Me Not, My Organic Garden, because they sort of like mix visual novel and this sort of like clicker game into one game, and I was like, oh, that's very cool.
Well, I guess we should start the bids. So I think that there's a strong audience for visual novels, and we're looking to fill that niche here at Microcastles on our downloadable service. So we're willing to offer you 6 Parsons bucks right off the bat.
Well, I would like to hear, what do you imagine like the player experience is? Like, do you imagine they're like in bed with a Nintendo Switch? Do you think they're sitting at a desk, sitting at a computer, a desk, like they are all day already?
That sounds very comfy.
A lot of people actually play our consoles from their couch, you know. So I think that is a mischaracterization of our audience.
You can play this game outside with a Nintendo Switch, which is really nice.
There's nothing stopping you from standing outside and looking in a window. Just saying.
The audiences of Microcastles and Babytendo definitely, I mean, think about it. Mario is a big contender. It seems pretty different from the vibe of the sort of 2D platformer, and our audience really appreciates this well-crafted narrative and characters. So we are going to offer you 4 Parsons bucks. Not as much as Microcastles, but we think that we can support you and your artistic integrity.
I'll offer 5, a solid 5.
Should I make my choice now?
Unless you want to ask us any more questions or encourage someone to raise the bid.
And Michelle, you can also try to go viral if you don't like any of the offers as well.
I forgot about that option. I kind of like the idea of like being on Nintendo Switch and laying in bed. So I think I'll go with that.
All right, great choice.
Fair enough.
What was the Nintendo offer?
It's 5.
5. Okay. Great work. Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you.
Woo.
Fun,
yeah.
Looking at some questions from chat. People want to know, will you go into what caused the utopia, and are the plants a part of that?
Yeah, that's like something I want to explore in like this sort of alternative timeline, because I want it to be more darker. So maybe I can do more of that.
Cool. And then there was also one question that was for the previous game, actually, that we didn't get to before moving on. But they were wondering what elements of sound design that did you want to try out for the characters in that game?
Was that my? Oh, that was Nicole.
Homesick.
Sorry, I forgot.
Yeah. Is Nicole still here? Nicole.
Oh, maybe Nicole had to go.
No.
No, she's there. Yeah, there she is.
What's up?
Oh, someone asked a question like right as we were starting the next presentation, so I figured I'd get to it now. but they were just wondering what elements of sound design you were thinking about trying out for the characters in your game.
Oh yeah, so my friend who was in games, she took a gap year, Sharon O. She does the sound effects, so it's totally up to her. Like I was thinking about that, and we did have like conversations between sound effects with the characters, having like Tao more high pitch and Mara very deep. But I didn't have time to incorporate it. So yeah, that's pretty much what, like more like a, I guess a high pitch tone beep thing for Ta. But yeah, I was trying to like make like the dialogue have different sounds for each time they talk. So yeah.
Nice. Thanks both of you for the answers.
Oh, and with the last game, I really like the atmosphere and especially the character design was really nice. I like the kind of Christmas of what's going on
Your
in the
music
atmosphere.
choice.
Oh.
Yeah, your music choice. I can't, when you did mention like laying in a bed with Nintendo Switch and just like listening to and watching like the light movement of the graphics, it's great.
Yeah, that made so much sense that I didn't want to have Baby Tendo.
Justina, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, great. This is our final presentation of the night. Justina, take it away.
Hi, so my name is Justina Young, and my thesis project is called Daya's World. So Daya's World is a 2.5D interactive story game where you play as Daya as she uses her magic brush to create and restore her world. The goal of my game is to introduce players to the style of Chinese painting and calligraphy, and I also want players to take interest in Chinese myth and culture. So as to why I want to create this game, mythology-based games aren't something new, but a lot in, I guess, popular culture right now a lot of it is inspired by myths that are heavily like presented in popular culture, like Greek or Celtic. Chinese culture doesn't have that presence, so I wanted to take this as an opportunity to not only explore my background, but to also encourage others to do the same. So for some main questions I've asked throughout my whole iterative process, I looked at how I can take 2D form like Chinese painting and recreate it in a 3D style. I mainly wanted to focus on a way to produce or recreate this feeling of vastness that I would usually find in Chinese painting. I wanted the experience of my game to be calming and to be tranquil because that's the main feeling that I get whenever I paint landscapes. I also looked at how to incorporate calligraphy. That's something that I specifically wanted to kind of like look into, how to like work with brush strokes and things. And I took that into my mechanic where you are basically drawing and writing Chinese characters. So I obviously researched like Chinese paintings and looked at the different styles and techniques. I also was inspired by the story of Ma Liang, where he obtains a magic brush and it basically turns whatever he draws into real life. And I connected that to my calligraphy mechanic, where you're basically creating this world. And I was also inspired by the myth of Nuwa, where in her story, she basically restores heaven by collecting 5 different colored stones. And in Chinese culture, these stones are connected to different elements. You have water for metal, or you have white for metal, black for water, blue for wood, red for fire, and yellow for earth. And that's why I also implemented and connected to my calligraphy aspect. And I really wanted I really wanted this world to reflect that sort of those elements. And for future goals, I do incorporate a lot of writing where you do learn how to write these Chinese characters, but I think it would be really interesting to kind of look at and see how else I can implement this kind of aspect of learning Chinese myth and culture. But that's it for my presentation. Thank you.
All right, can everybody see it?
Yeah.
And hear it? I can turn up the volume a little bit.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good right now, actually.
All right, cool. Let's get started.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. Pretty. I had a visceral reaction.
I like this character animation.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I like the color palette. And even the 3D models actually did capture that feeling of the 2D ink painting. So I think you did a good job there with that too.
Thank you.
Ooh. Like this.
The animation is fantastic.
Yeah, that zoom is really nice.
Yeah, and I like that you made those mist particles like the same color as the background so that it kind of has that feel of using, not using ink to like convey negative space and atmosphere.
Where do I go now? I played a little bit of this earlier, so I go back here.
You can also explore a bit on the environment because I did put some little things.
Okay. Yeah, it is pretty calming, especially that. Yeah, the audio design is really atmospheric.
So would you say that I'm getting a few different maybe concepts from this game, and I'm wondering which ones are the most central, because I'm seeing like what maybe the core mechanic right now seems to be focused around teaching people a little bit about Chinese characters and how to write them. And would you say that is like the central feature of the game right now? Is that like the main goal?
My original goal was to implement there are myths and just basically to like help or just increase like I guess the atmosphere or like I guess to further push like the kind of content around Chinese culture and myths. That's what I originally wanted to, and a part of that it has a lot to do with a lot of this aspect with Chinese painting and calligraphy because those are also a big part of their culture. So I wanted to implement that into my thing. As of now, it is basically writing, but I do want to try to implement other aspects where you can do like freely drawing aspects of it, because I think that'd be really cool.
See if I can get this one. Yeah, this reminds me a little bit, maybe not to be too obvious, but this reminds me of a game that is already on several Nintendo consoles, Okami. Have you considered what this game would be like, maybe on like a touch screen?
Yeah, I think it'd actually be a lot like easier on touchscreen because like there is like a lot of drawing aspect to it. I think you might just have to like get closer to it.
Maybe.
Yeah, and maybe a touch screen could be interesting, but imagine the power of the Kinect, using your entire body to paint some of these characters and how gestural that would feel. And yeah, I think this could be a pretty good fit for Microcastles as well. I didn't hear an offer from Baby Tendo. Maybe that shows
I only
more
have
bark than bite.
I have $3 left, so I'll offer up all 3 of my bucks.
Before I make my offer, I'd like to hear a little bit about your process of turning, like paintings that inspired you into this like dynamic animated experience. Like, how was that designing and creating like the movement of everything?
So I guess creating the movement, I basically just modeled and then just like did some of the animations directly in Unity and Maya, and then just like imported it into the game. As for like, as for like, I'm guessing what you're asking is like how I guess movement was inspired by the Chinese paintings, right?
Yes.
So a lot of the Chinese paintings that I was looking at had like a lot of this aspect of vastness and like this creation of like white space. So I really wanted to put that through the environment design in my game. The animations themselves, I was mostly inspired by the this short film by Rezanov called The Promise, and they implemented a lot of like this ink aspect of like either animation into it, and I wanted to like recreate that sense of fluidity. Yeah.
Yeah, it's even just fun drawing over the environment and seeing like this like kind of ink texture or material or whatever this is. It's really nice.
Is
just
is
play
that
around
like
it.
a line renderer or something? How did you accomplish that?
Yeah, so the actual ink stuff is a line editor. I had this thing called the P dollar gesture recognizer. You can probably find it on GitHub, and you basically it saves lines or points from a line through like into like a file that you can like later call. Yeah, you might have to like be at like the very center of each word, and if you like
I'll
do
try
like
it.
kind of exact too.
Okay.
We at Anna Parsons love the way this game looks and feels, and we really appreciate trying to bring this art style that doesn't have a space currently with the Western audience. And so we would love to fund your game. I am willing to offer 7 Parson bucks to produce this beautiful game.
Well, that's a generous offer, but I have to say, Microcastles, we have a huge presence in China. We're very familiar with Chinese culture, and we know that your plan is to bring Chinese culture to a Western audience. And I think we could assist you in bridging that gap and establishing contacts in both markets to help with that. So we're really interested in your game, and I think we can match Anna Parsons at 7 Parsons bucks.
Yeah, three is my max. I think that's as much money as I have left. So just keep that in mind.
And
I think this would be great. I think again on a touch screen.
And Anna Parsons, you actually have $8 left.
Yeah, which I was about to up the ante, and we are going to offer you $8 ahead of Microsoft because we do think this game is so wonderful.
Okay, I'm sorry, you forced my hand. 9 Parsons bucks.
Am I supposed to choose now?
Yeah.
So you can choose one, or you can decide to try to self-publish and see if you go viral with a dice roll.
I guess since nobody really like did the self-publishing, I guess I could like try that.
You want to give it a try?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So the way it works is I'm going to roll the 6-sided dice. You get however much money the number comes up, but if you get a 5 or a 6, I'll roll again. So it could be a big hit, or it could be kind of small. So it's pretty risky, but we can go for it. All right, Justina, I'm rolling.
Kind of scared.
Don't roll a 1.
6. We got 1 6.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh.
So that means another roll. 3. So you basically got $9 from that.
Okay.
Nice tree.
You got a
Nice.
thank you. You got a kill screen article written about your game. Narratively.
Yeah. So yeah, you hit big ones. So yeah, we could go through. Well, first of all, I think we should give everybody a big round of applause. These were all really great games.
Yes, thank you for sharing your games with us.
I just want to jump in. Say yes, thank you all. I am the big mogul I'm going to buy up all the game companies and then allow all the makers to own part of their production. So they have co-ops in all the companies.
All right. Does that mean I only get to give you 5%?
Not me. You get to give your corporation. Yes.
Yeah, sorry. Baby Tendo is not a worker-owned co-op. Sorry, I apologize.
It's never going to happen to Microcastles either. Maybe Anna Parsons.
Public pressure.
Yeah, thank you all so much. John, do you have a? I'm sorry, I cut you off. I believe.
There's just a. Well, we're just going to go through the final scores to see how everybody did.
Oh, I was just going to say, did we want to take some of the questions for that last game before we wrap up?
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. So yeah, there's a couple questions for this game. One of them is, what myth in particular would you want to explore? Would you want there to be more of a central theme or multiple themes?
So the myths that I specifically looked into at first, or the myths cater to creation. So those are the myths that I looked at, and they were like the beginnings of the world and like that kind of storylines. And originally for my, I guess, storyline, I wanted to start out with an empty space where you're actually creating the world, and you're kind of going through this process of like how the world was created. But due to like time constraints, I like lowered that down to like just like a little part or a bit of it. So I think it'd be really cool to like do or focus the storyline into that aspect. Yeah.
Cool. There's another question asking, would you be willing to incorporate more characters for the player to explore? And I think they mean like the written characters. And would they all still be related to nature?
Related to nature. Do you mean like the animated characters or like the character that you're playing?
That's a good question. Maybe Mossball can respond to that if they're still in chat. But I guess you could speak to either. Oh, they said characters as in the writing.
So I guess that's animation, right? I guess it's both in a way. Yeah, I think I would actually, it'd be really cool if you could like have interactions with other different characters as you play throughout the story. I think something that I looked at is that through the creation story, you're like you're a sole existence in like this world. So it's like you're by yourself. So I think it'd be cool to like later on incorporate like the interactions with like other people, and like as like this world continues to like grow. Yeah. I definitely do want to connect it to like nature though, because a lot of what Chinese painting is, it's like connected to nature, is very like calming and tranquil. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, other than that, just a lot of people saying that they really love the art style.
Thank you.
Thanks. Oh, and one person, this is not related to any of the games, but was asking if this video is going to be recorded and if people can go back and watch the whole thing later.
Yeah, it's being recorded, and we'll probably put it on the Babycastles YouTube, and I can also share a download with Parsons, and then Parsons will probably share it on one of their platforms as well. Those details haven't been worked out yet, but yeah, Babycastles will get it up on our YouTube, hopefully in the near future. If you want to do that, if you want to watch it really quickly, it will be archived on our itch for the next 2 weeks automatically, so that you can always check that out if you want to see it right away. Okay, cool. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen, and let's see what the final part of this metagame is. So this is how this is the money that each company has left, and this is how they ended up spending it. And here are the final scores. So for the most part, so I basically made some multipliers in the background on where I felt these games fit. Most of the time, people went with either what I thought would be number 1 or number 2. The only one that was a curveball actually, Costas, you basically broke even. But that's because I didn't expect your game to be an Anna Parsons game. I actually thought it was going to be, especially when you're talking about like virtual reality and stuff, I thought it was going to be the big Microsoft hit on some new hardware that's yet to be developed. So you didn't lose money, but you basically broke even. You got about $2 off of a investment of $4. But I think everybody else did pretty well. We've got I think the two blowaway ones were Don't Cry at Sunrise.
Words Don't Cry and Author's Quest.
Yeah, and Revenge. And Author's Quest and Homesick.
Yeah.
This is like
actually. Wait, unmute was more than Revenge and Homesick.
That's true. That's true. Unmute did really well too.
Yeah, Daniel won.
This is basically a result of a lot of money being put down on exactly the right company. But I also think, Justina, you did pretty good self-publishing. I think compared to like some of these other numbers, you're about even, and you own all your rights and everything without any company, basically co-owning it. So good job there going off on your own.
Oh, JP, could you make that window larger just on the Twitch? We're not quite able to see those numbers. Yeah.
Okay, let's.
Or maybe just zoom in on the actual grid part of the window so we can read what's going on.
Maybe too big. How about this? Is that?
Yeah, that's much better.
Okay, great. Yeah. So also this game itself was devised by Blake and Dennis, and so this spreadsheet is a copy of one Blake put together for me to use. So I want to give them credit for coming up with this. This is the second time it's been run, and this is, I think, when you guys did it before, you weren't actually taking place, right? You were more just like monitoring it, or Dennis?
We didn't play. We had some other. We had a different group of people play. So this is the first time I've played it.
How did it feel being on the other side?
It feels good to win. It feels good to be crying my way to the bank.
Yeah, it feels bad to lose. But I think Microcastles will be okay. Yeah, it was interesting to play. I think knowing how we did it maybe made me overthink some things, although we had a different set of like companies in our version of the game. I think there was enough analogs to kind of make me feel like I knew the rules or knew what to expect, when actually you probably kind of handled some of the numbers behind the scenes differently than we did. So I'm going to blame that for Thursday lost.
Yeah, I did. I wanted it to be a little bit more on like the balance side, so I tried to make it a little bit harder for Microcastles and a little bit easier for Anna Parsons. I think Anna Parsons did pretty well, but Emily, I was worried at the beginning because you were like really like kind of standoffish, but then you got more aggressive like on some good ones later.
Yeah, I definitely. I wasn't sure what was going to be, what games are going to happen later in the stream. But yeah, I definitely think playing aggressively and like putting a lot of money on, at least in the Anna Parsons character and the mechanics that go along with it, is the way to go. I was a little intimidated at first.
But yeah, you made a couple games some money.
Mm-hmm.
Homesick and Birds Don't Cry at Sunrise made some big bucks.
High five. I think that's an interesting analog that the developers that won went with the smaller studio.
Yeah.
Or I guess, or they the ones that were like higher up went with the smaller studio, except for I guess when I gambled big on Arthur's Quest. So it's pretty close.
Yeah. Well, thank you everybody for coming. This has been really fun sharing. Oh, I'll stop sharing the screen. Sharing your thesis show with you. And it was cool trying to figure out how to do a Babycastles end of the year show without a physical space too. And I think to me it feels like it came together really well. So I'm really happy with this. And as your teacher for a couple of semesters, I also just want to congratulate you personally on making it through Parsons and coming out the other end with your BFA degrees. So good work there.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the games were really, really interesting and a lot of different. There's a lot of variety, so it was cool. It was also having. I also teach at Pratt and at Bloomfield, so it's interesting seeing all of those games recently and now seeing these and seeing how different all the schools are. And like there's like I feel like especially with Parsons, it's like there's like a unique like experimental and like very visually driven. Really, really, really overall really great sound. I think that was the big thing I took away from this is like the sound design across the board was really great. The visuals were really spot on.
I noticed that too with the sound. Yeah, a lot of the time in student projects, audio can, depending on who's working on it and what their interests are, audio can sort of feel like an afterthought. And I felt like I was impressed by it in almost all of these games. So that stood out to me a lot. Yeah, and I also think that there was a good balance of games that had a visual focus, but also felt like there was a lot of thought put into sort of the mechanics and the structure of them. I think that made it stand out.
And maybe it's just because you guys gave a presentation beforehand, but I was like, oh, a lot of these are pretty conceptually strong. Yeah. Too. I thought there's like a lot of experimentation, but also like really strong narrative links between a lot of them. And it seems like I don't know if this is true, but hopefully, and I know definitely with COVID and remote learning, it's difficult. But I could see maybe this is just having played all of them, but it felt like there were some ties or like maybe you guys were talking to each other a little bit. I don't know if that's true, but it felt like there was some unifying things as well, which was really nice.
I want to thank everybody, the game companies. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this. John, you're a lifesaver with this. And of course, the most important person, which is all of you all that entered games. I appreciate the hard work that you all have put in this semester. I know it's been a rough year, final year. But there's light at the end of the tunnel, and this is a demonstration and an example of what happens when you focus, right, and when you trust the design process. A lot of you all started off in one direction and then had to switch. A lot of you, the last time I saw your projects, which was like a few days ago, things have absolutely changed dramatically. So I really commend you in putting all that work in. Don't forget to, we have our commencement on. Well, I'll send you an email just so that you all don't forget. And yeah, this has been really lovely. It's been lovely having you all in class and graduation.
Woo! Juan, any final words from Alexander King? I said we could have more Alexander King talk at the end.
Yes. So Alexander King actually had to leave just a little while ago, but I will go back and I can read some of the comments that he left before leaving, though.
Okay.
Let's see. He said gambled and won. That was in reference to the decision to go indie by the last game, and it worked out. And then he says, amazing work, everybody. And he says, I got to run, but amazing work all around. And also great guest critics. More exhibitions should have an arc meta narrative. And yeah, I got to agree with that. I think it would be great if all the student end of year shows had a LARP component.
Thanks. I think that's a great note to end on. Once again, thank you, everybody. And I'll send you emails if you want to share this video once we have it up. It'll probably be like a day or two once I get it together. And yeah, I'll see you all in the future. You're all promising artists, and I don't think you'll just disappear. See ya.
Take care, y'all.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Yeah, great job, everyone.
Yeah, great work, everybody.
Thanks for having us. Great job.
Thanks for everything, everybody.
Good night.
Have a good night.
Bye.